The 1976 Prime Minister's resignation honours were announced on 27 May 1976 to mark the resignation of Prime Minister Harold Wilson. The list of honours became known satirically as the Lavender List. Controversy. The list caused controversy as a number of recipients were wealthy businessmen whose principles were considered antithetical to those held by the Labour Party at the time. Roy Jenkins notes that Wilson's retirement was disfigured by his, at best, eccentric resignation honours list, which gave peerages and knighthoods to some adventurous business gentlemen, several of whom were close neither to him nor to the Labour Party. One businessman on the list, Lord Kagan, was convicted of fraud in 1980. Sir Eric Miller committed suicide while under investigation for fraud in 1977. Another beneficiary was the buccaneering financier James Goldsmith. Nearly all of the other names on the list, such as actor John Mills, were, however, uncontroversial, dismissing the notoriety of these two names. Both of Wilson's academic biographers, Professor Ben Pimelot and Philip Ziegler, writing in the 1990s long after the purported events, stressed that there was never any question at the time or subsequently of financial impropriety in the drawing up of the list. The origin of the name Lavender List derived from the claim made by former press secretary and journalist Joe Haines at the head of Wilson's political office, Lady Falkender, had written the original draft on lavender-colored notepaper. No documentary evidence has been proffered to support this claim, and Wilson and Falkender denied it. Joe Haines expressly denied any financial impropriety in the compilation of the list on national television in an interview on BBC's Panorama on 14 February 1977. In 2001, Joe Haines altered his allegations with an entirely new version of the Lavender List. Lady Falkender sued Joe Haines for libel in 2007 over the statement that she was the author of the list. Many statements in the media were subject to litigation by both Wilson and Falkender during the 1970s, which later gave rise to a long complaint by Wilson published in the Times that his administration had been subject to an alleged smear campaign. Wilson's suspicions were later partially corroborated by former MI5 Assistant Director Peter Wright in his book Spycatcher, a book that was initially banned from publication in the UK. According to a letter from Edith Summerskill published in The Times on 27 May 1977, the members of the Political Honours Scrutiny Committee were astounded when we read the list of proposed honours. We told the civil servant present that we could not approve of at least half of the list, and would he see that this was conveyed to the Prime Minister, and that it astonished us to find that, with one exception, the original list of recipients was published unchanged. But she comments that we were in fact faced with a fait accompli which we had no power to upset. Political and Public Services List. The recipients of honours are displayed here as they were styled before the new honour and arranged by honour life peer: Terence George Boston, Sir Bernard Delfont, Sir Lou Grade, Sir Joseph Kagan, Albert James Murray, Sir Max Rain, John Ernest Vasley, Sir Arthur George Weidenfeld, Privy Councillor Lionel Murray, Companion of Honour Lord Elwyn Jones, Lord Chancellor Edward Watson Short, Knighthood Stanley Baker, James Goldsmith, Frederick Donald Gosling, James Edward Hanson, Eric Merton Miller, John Mills, Sigmund Sternberg, John Elliot Terry, Commander of the Order of the British Empire Arthur Smith, Parliamentary Agent to Harold Wilson, Henry Reginald Underhill, National Agent of the Labour Party. Officer of the Order of the British Empire Miss Doreen Stainforth, Broadcasting Officer, the Labour Party Information Department. Donald Wilgoose, Chief Executive and Town Clerk, Knowsley Metropolitan Borough Council. Michael Edward Yarwood, Entertainer. Member of the Order of the British Empire. Hilda, Mrs. Church. Personal Secretary to Roy Jenkins, MP. Miss Mary Griffin, Private Secretary to the General Secretary of the Labour Party. Arthur Thomas Guns, lately Supervisor, Dispatch Department, Labour Party Headquarters. William John Taylor, Meetings Officer, Labour Party Headquarters. British Empire Medal. Private Office List. Life. Pierce Joseph Ellis Stone, Personal Physician. Knighthood. Alfred Henry Warren, Private Secretary to the Government. Chief Whip. Member of the Order of the British Empire. Fleet Chief. Wren Stewart. Dorothy Mary Gordon, Senior Steward at Chequers. Miss Doreen Andrew, formerly Secretary in the Political Office. Miss Peggy Patricia Field, Personal Secretary to Lady Wilson. William Charles Housden, B.E.M., Personal Driver. Doris Molly, Mrs. Knight, Assistant Prime Minister's Office, No. 10 Downing Street. Mavis Dorothy, Mrs. MacDonald, Secretary in the Political Office. Thora, Mrs. Pollard, Housekeeper. British Empire Medal. Charles Beveridge, Senior Messenger, No. 10 Downing Street. Edith Margaret, Mrs. Causer, Senior Cleaner, No. 10 Downing Street. Robert Jeffrey Matthews, Police Constable, Metropolitan Police. Miss Doris May Richardson, Telephonist, No. 10 Downing Street. Docudrama. The Lavender List is a UK television docudrama broadcast on BBC4 in March 2006 based solely on the second version of events put forward by Joe Haynes in 2001. Events that he claimed led to the drafting of the 1976 Resignation Honours. The BBC was successfully sued for libel by Lady Falkender over the programme, and in addition to a financial settlement, the BBC agreed never to rebroadcast the programme.